here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you from Murph's Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you live from the great state of Pennsylvania, where I spent many years at Marywood University, and then in Dunmore, PA, the Dunmore-Scranton area, working for Time Shamrock Communications and ESPN Radio 630, 1240, and 96.1 FM. So, DT and Murphy. Murph is here. Murph, thank you for having us in your studios.
Of course.
So we're here in the wonderful state of Pennsylvania. We've been to Philly. We're in the Poconos right now. We're in the Witness Protection Program. It's fun. It's different. It's exciting.
Middle of the woods.
Yes. So, but it's,
I mean, it kind of is the middle of the woods.
Right. And what Murph found out is that there is a stark difference from his travels overseas between fish and chips and oil and chips.
Oh, God. Anyone who lives in Pennsylvania knows when PennDOT goes out and puts the oil and chips out on the road, it is the worst thing in the world. It basically can destroy your tires. It can destroy your car, the underside of your car.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's to help maintain the roads, but they just completely repaved one of the roads by my house. Did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks ago. And they just put oil and chips on top of it. And just basically destroyed and just ruined it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we're the only state that does it. And it is the dumbest thing in the world.
I don't understand it. It's like taking, you do one or the other. You either pave a road or you make it a dirt road. And it's like paving a road and then putting dirt on it. It's like, here's a new road, but it's also a rock road. It's also like an off the beaten path road, but we just tried to make it a real one. I mean, like growing up, and I remember being down in Florida, if you would go off the beaten path, you would go on this like sand road that had a bunch of holes in it. You go through these rocky roads and your car would be doing all this. But you never went through a paved road where people are like, you know what we want to do on top of something we've sealed? Just annihilate it. And it doesn't make any sense. So when I was driving through here, I was like, what is going on?
You just hear the rocks kicking up against the car. Like,
just hitting my car.
And they only did it like Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
So like it was still pretty darn fresh.
So
but
Pennsylvania,
it's so stupid.
Stop doing that.
Please stop doing that. Governor Shapiro, I know there was a potential for you to be Vice President Harris's VP pick. Yeah. Now that you're not and you're focusing on Pennsylvania again, please stop this. You're a decent guy. I know you're a Democrat and I'm a Republican. I don't mind what you're doing right now. Please please tell PennDOT to stop doing that. That would be Pennsylvanians would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, it's funny because you think about this, you know, by him not becoming the vice presidential candidate, did he not save the other 49 states from learning about oil and chips?
I think he did. But that was an issue long before him.
Yeah.
I mean, this was an issue with, I don't even remember how long this has been going on. As long as I can remember.
And Pennsylvania roads are usually the ones where they cut corners because they have to be fixed all the time.
Yep.
Like the same road is under construction every year.
Mm-hmm. Now, I get it for... Now, let's just say you want to do because it's supposed to extend the life of the asphalt.
Yeah.
I get it if you want to do it like 2 years later when it's starting to crack. But why are you doing it right away? Like, that makes zero sense.
Because you got it approved in your budget. So, I have no idea.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. I didn't know what oil and chips were. Now I do.
I don't think anybody who's listening, if you live in a state other than Pennsylvania and you have never heard of this, please let me know. I'm pretty sure we are the only state to do it. It's every time I looked up anything about oil and chips, it brought up stuff from PennDOT. I want to know if this is legit or not. If it's just us. If it is just us, not happy about it.
Yeah. I have no idea, but Pennsylvania, you do things a little bit differently at times, and Syracuse is obviously deleting a highway in order to help traffic, so that makes no sense either. I think there's some decisions that need to be made. maybe a little bit differently. But one decision that we've made 3 times now, and will continue to make, is going to the Fishtown Card Show.
Yes.
The Fishtown Card Show is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is at Rivers Casino. It's put on by a fantastic team, and I have to shout out Brett first and foremost for the work that they've all done at the Fishtown Card Show. It's an awesome experience. It's 2 days. Murph and I have been going for just Sundays due to Murph's work schedule, but it is Saturday and Sunday. Brett Kazatsky, he goes by Brett Kaz, so Brett Kazatsky is the person that runs the whole show with his team, and I want to give him a shout out. I got to spend some time around him yesterday, and he's been a huge supporter of Wake Up Call. He's been a huge supporter of our broadcasts, and so I just want to say thank you to Brett and thank you to the team. But they put on a great show.
Oh yeah, they always do. And you know, I always say the best part of that show is when you're there. The worst part of that show is the drive to and from. That's the only disadvantage to that show is how far away it is for us. But we wouldn't be making that long trek if it wasn't a great show. Yeah. So you know, the 2 hours down the Pennsylvania Turnpike is always. You know, I always say that the Pennsylvania Turnpike is the most boring road in the world because there is literally nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, but the little hour 45, 2 hour drive down the Turnpike is actually pretty nice for that show, and it's in a great area too. I mean, you're right by the Ben Franklin Bridge on the Delaware River. You know, it's a nice little area inside of Rivers Casino. I did not go into the casino, for the record. Even though even though those of you that know me, it is very tempting.
Yeah. You haven't done that any of the times.
No, I have not. Partly because we haven't really had the time.
Yeah.
And we didn't really feel like staying afterwards to do that. But you know, yeah, it's a great show. They do a really nice job of kind of keeping everyone in the same spot. Like the repeat dealers tend to be in like the exact same spot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. Yeah. Basically, I think it is if you ask for your certain tables, you get them. So the tables we were at previously, I think they changed the classification for them. Like they made them slightly more expensive. So we went across the way, but I actually thought that was a better spot, to be quite honest. Because we were literally, if you were walking out the back door, you walk straight out, and our table was right there.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot miss it if you were walking out that door.
When you sign in, there's this nice backdrop that kind of looks like a press conference for Fishtown and Cherry Hill. Mm-hmm. So you sign in, you come through the hallway, and so as you're coming through the hallway, there's vendors set up there. And as you come through the hallway, if you are to go into the main room that way after paying and walking in, you go through the main room, come around the main room, come out. We were looking at you right when you came out the door. Directly when you came out the door. Mm-hmm. And right across the way from where we were before. We got a ton of traffic in that hallway each of the 3 times. And a lot of people looking at stuff, a lot of people buying stuff, trading. I didn't have as many people ask me to trade, which I was good with because I wanted to have people buy things as opposed to trade them. And then I ended up buying stuff. This was the most I've ever bought.
Yeah, he went crazy, folks.
Yeah, this was the most.
Safe to say he bought a lot more than I did. Yeah. I came home with... No. I did come home with more than one new card, but one of those new cards was in a trade.
This is the most I've ever bought. It doesn't look like a lot here like this. If you include the night before,
then
this is everything that I bought.
So let me preface that. So the night before, a couple of my friends that I'm pretty close with, we went. So they went to the Fishtown Show on Saturday. We all meet up typically during the week, maybe like once a week, sometimes every other week, at a McDonald's that is, about 15 minutes down the road, kind of a midway point between everybody. And we usually hang out there from like 7:30 till like 11 o'clock at night when they close. And, you know, the people in McDonald's are perfectly happy with it. They just basically, you know, they let us know when they're getting ready to close, and we're happy to get out of their hair. You know, but so we met up with them on Saturday night because I got a call from my friend Sean, and he said they were coming up. Do you guys want to meet up? Because they knew I still needed some more cards for the show. So we did. We were out to dinner at the time at Timbers.
Yeah.
So basically, we said we'll once we're done, we'll run back to the house, get our cash, and then and our cards, and head down. So we met up with them, and you know, bought a couple more things, and I believe all 3 things I bought yesterday are gone. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. What I'm happy about is last show here, I bought a Jalen Hurts at the end of the show. Jalen Hurts rookie. Refractor, mosaic, and it was out of 10, PSA 10, I should say. And so I had a few people look at it, and then I think I had somebody come after, and it was already gone. So that got sold, and then at GG Cards and Breaks, our sports card shop of choice, they had their show on Thursday, our monthly trade night, and the trade night was at the store. And I got to shout out Joe Anarino. Joe had a bunch. He has a ton of slabs. He buys cards, and he's been getting a ton of them graded lately. He's a huge supporter of GG Cards and Breaks. And so he had 2 Devontae Smith PSA 9s, and I got them specifically for the show. So I came to the show with Jalen Hurts and 2 Devontae Smiths, and none of them came home with me, which was the plan.
Mm-hmm. So. I mean, hey, this... it wasn't full. Oh, jeez, I can't even get it up here. So this wasn't full, but the left side, this side here, this side was full.
Yeah.
This is all I have left, and plus the 2 cards that I have on the counter right there as what I have gotten that is new from yesterday. But my stack of what I came home with yesterday.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all you got.
That's all that was new. Now, I have newer stuff from the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
On Thursday, or on Monday, but which I'll show at some point. You know, but regardless, like it was another really good show in terms of sales for me, because I mentioned last week at Morris County I killed it and got a ton of stuff to get sold. But I also ran into a guy who I've become friends with. I can't for the life of me remember his first name, but his Instagram is Card Breaks LLC. He goes around and buys for repackers and then some stuff for himself. He does some YouTube. Where I'm actually going to be in his YouTube video from the Fishtown show. I guess it's the first deal of the day that he made. So what basically I sold him, there were 3 cards that I sold him. They weren't like crazy expensive. It was a case hit of Patrick Mahomes. No. What did I sell him? I don't remember exactly what I sold him. It'll be in the video. But basically I think I made just a little bit on that stuff. And so I think I had him stickered at $350, and we kind of said, like, in terms of comps, like, we're right, the comps are right there. So he offered me 3, and I said to him, you know what, you took care of me last week, let me make sure that I still make a little on that stuff. And he even said to me, like, no, I want you to make money on this stuff. I'm like, oh, I know, I want to make, I was like, if I can find that $50, that I'll still make a little bit of money, I'm cool with it. So I went through, I'm like, Yep. Good. Shook his hand and made the deal. I think I might have made $10 or $15 on the 3 cards I sold him, but yeah, it was cool. We got to talk a little bit about. You let me shout out our show coming up, the Pocono show. We finally have a date for that. If I didn't mention it last week, I don't remember if I did or not. November 9th is going to be the date. It's going to be from 10 to 3. 10 to 3. At the Jackson Township Firehouse in, technically I think the address is Strasburg, but it's in Reeders. It's 5 minutes from Route 80. and 5 minutes from the crossings, from the outlets. If the wife doesn't want you to go out, incentivize her with a day of going shopping and at the outlets. So now you have a reason to go. Drop the wife off at the outlets, and then you can go to the card show.
Let's go shopping. Pick you up in 3 hours. It kind of feels like, I mean, if you said, I want to go out, I want to do something, there's a card show, I don't want to do that. Okay, but we can go shopping. Really? We can go shopping? Yeah. And then you pull up, drop them off, and go shopping. Mm-hmm. I'll see you when I get back. And then
you guys go shopping, then I'll go shopping.
Some of you may have wives and husbands after, and some of you may not. But, I mean, the big thing is that you all get to do things that you love. And
absolutely.
All jokes aside now, this Pocono show is going to be a lot of fun. And November 9th, like Murph said, 10 to 3. We hope that you'll all come out and support this show, this new venture for Murph, and to come out, bring your cards, show us what you got, have some fun. We love doing stuff like this, love being a part of the community. Trade night at GG Cards and Breaks is awesome. The Fishtown Card Show is awesome. There's a lot of places where you could do some really cool things and have some fun, and I know that this is a passion project and something that Murph appreciates, and he wouldn't do it if he wasn't in love with it. He loves going to shows. Now he wants to, kind of put his own stamp on it. So I implore you to come out and support the show and to look for it on social media and how you could get involved and how you could be a vendor. And it's going to be November 9th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here in the Poconos.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the vendor application is out. It's a Google form that you can fill out, basically just giving us your information and how many tables you would like. So we still have plenty of tables available right now. So if you are interested, our Instagram is @thePocono Show. The link to the vendor application is in our bio. The tables are pretty cheap too, and it helps that the building was fairly cheap for the day. It's literally it's gonna be good $30 for a table and $50 for 2 tables. So it is. We're only gonna be able to have about 50 tables or so. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting, and there's a lot of great stuff coming up. Murph and I have a lot of things to talk about, sports cards and the sports world. We always talk about sports and give you that kind of like our thoughts. We're going into the NFL season here. We're in the second week of the preseason. There's going to be one more piece to the preseason before we jump into the NFL season. Major League Baseball is in full swing, pun fully intended, and the races are on for the opportunity to win these divisions, and if not, to fall somewhere amongst the wild cards. So all of that conversation, including cards, is coming up. And once again, shout out to Brett Kaz, who's here with us watching from the Fishtown Card Show. Big time thanks to Fishtown as well as Cherry Hill and all the work that Brett and his team do to make this a truly amazing experience. From the Heritage Hill Studios, I do want to make a note here that I am here in the Poconos, but I will be back to you, Central New York. You will see me very soon at Syracuse Orange Football Camp, and that means I will be just a few minutes away from both of these wonderful locations. Heritage Hill Brew House you will find on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey in the rolling hills of Central and Upstate New York. And we implore you to go to the Brew House, which looks like you've literally walked into a painting that you've seen on a wall somewhere. And, of course, Heritage Hill North, our exclusive home for our sit-down conversations with the Cicero North Stars, CNS North Stars, down the road, CNS High School, Cicero North Syracuse, maybe 6 minutes away from Heritage Hill North. And of course, before they get to the high school, they're surrounded by the CNS junior high and CNS kind of on the road up to becoming a North Star at the high school. So make sure you come out and see them there. The offices, I think, for CNS are literally like almost across the street from Heritage Hill. So a great home for us for the North Stars. We'll be there this Wednesday, August 21st at 7 p.m. to kick off football season for Coach Ryan in his first season as the head of the CNS North Stars football program. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. We will be back after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to speak more on the Fishtown Card Show, give our sports card show and tell, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks, and to talk baseball and football right after this. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And welcome back here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill Brew House and Heritage Hill North, the brew house out in Pompey, and Heritage Hill North, their newest location at 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, right there at Sweetheart Corners, a couple minutes from Syracuse Hancock International Airport. So, you like that BP commercial?
Yes, I do. That I get every time I hear it. I'm like, oh, that's so good. That was like one of the most creative things ever, and it was so cool. You said that when you showed it to them, they loved it, right?
Yeah, we I sent it over to them, and the whole point of this, kind of like my method behind it was I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, the Brooklyn Pickle is so well known in Central New York and upstate New York, and they have 4 locations now. They have Syracuse East, Syracuse West, they have Utica, and they have they're also out in like Fairmount and like Camillus area, not too far from the Wildcat. So when I was thinking about it, I'm like, this is second nature for us. Your grandparents go there, your parents go there, I go there, and you go there for meetings, you go there for a date, go there after a golf day and whatnot, go there on a recruiting visit, whatever it may be. So in North Carolina, they don't know what the Brooklyn Pickle is, and they're getting to know the Brooklyn Pickle because they just came to North Carolina a few months ago. And I thought, what better way than to get people intrigued by it than to take a voice that sounds very familiar from New York and have him tell you what it's all about, kind of like if you went to the city for the first time and you're like, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to order, kind of what we experienced in Philadelphia yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
and to let this guy be your like source of information of this awesome sandwich shop and why you should go there and what it's all about. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Joe Pesci would be proud.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Joe's definitely one of the really, I mean, my childhood, you think back and you're like, my parents let me watch two guys try to kill a child in Home Alone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a great movie.
Twice.
It was funny, yeah. Actually, for people that don't know, and I didn't know this until a few years ago, Joe Pesci filmed Home Alone and Goodfellas in the same year.
Wow.
So he was cutting up bodies and throwing them in trunks and using, using mom's knife, and it's all this stuff. And at the same time, he was chasing a little kid around a house with a gold tooth. So, Joe Pesci, you are missed in the movies. It was nice to see you in The Irishman, but would love to see Joe again. He's just good. Pesci, Pacino, De Niro. There's a line of Italian actors that kind of give you that pride once again in being Italian and I mean Pesci's just second to none. There's nobody like him, and I think that's cool. Ray Liotta, may he rest in peace. There's a lot of. I think we're due for a really good mob Italian movie. I feel like that gets people out around Thanksgiving. You go, you bring the family, and you watch this movie, and then you go have Sunday dinner.
Yeah,
so
that would be great.
I miss those movies. I miss the Christmas movies around with the family, and I miss the mob movies. And to the Italians out there, they're like, it's the same. The Christmas movie, the mob movie, we watch them all on Christmas. We watch them all on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So, it's fun. But, yeah, so Brooklyn Pickle, to those of you down in Southern Pines, right by Pinehurst, it's like maybe 9 minutes. I heard it was even less. But it's right down the road from some of the best golf courses in America. And the sandwiches are absolutely, they're stacked, they're huge. I think I just got my biggest Brooklyn Pickle ever a few days ago when I took my niece and nephew out there. But they do a great job. Shout out to Craig and Brian and everybody with Brooklyn Pickle and, of course, their location in Southern Pines, North Carolina. So I'm going to show what I got the night before the show because I actually sold something. So I got 5 things the night before the show, 6 things the night before the show. I forgot about one of them. And I sold one of them. It was the first sale that I did at the Fishtown Card Show, which was an autograph of Ray Allen. Mm-hmm. And besides that, I made a deal with your friend Brian to bring these home. And so I'm coming home with a beautiful refractor auto of Robert Parrish. And people say, why Robert Parrish? My grandmother, G Mama, that I talk about, this is also numbered to 25. Mm-hmm. 10 out of 25. So the reason why I got this is because G Mama loved Robert Parrish, and my grandfather's a huge Celtics fan, and so I'm bringing this home for my mom. So Robert Parrish is coming home. I used to collect his cards too. And then I had to get this because before Tyler Perry, before y'all thought about what Tyler Perry's done and who he is and all these great shows with Medea, there was someone called Grandmama. And I still to this day am like, Tyler Perry, Grandmama. It's just similar. I feel like I'm happy with what Tyler Perry's done. His movies have great messages in them. I just want some royalty money to go to this guy, Larry Johnson, for Grandmama, who he brought out in Family Matters. So I have Larry Johnson. This one is 26 out of 49, and I'm a big Larry Johnson fan. For those of you that don't know, you may not know. Before I became a Raptor fan, I was a Charlotte Hornet fan when I was little, and a big fan of Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. the Sonics logo, Reggie Miller, and my team was Charlotte, and Muggsy, who else was on the team? Kendall Gill, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning. I liked them all. And I got this card, which is an on-card auto of a Hall of Famer, and this is 2 out of 25. And I wanted this, and these stickers are just the stickers that were on there. But Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, my favorite player of all time, Fred Taylor. And Fred Taylor needed, well, I shouldn't say needed, but it didn't hurt that he had a lot of help from this.
It helped.
So, Tony Baselli, shout out to him. This is a Gem Mint 10 out of 10 fireworks. I have a CJ Stroud of this. I have a couple of these. This is a 10 out of 10 graded PSA 10 Pat Mahomes fireworks that I picked up. Those were all from Brian. And then from Murphalation for the Nation, I picked up this card.
Courtesy of Brian, by the way. I actually bought that from him.
Oh, you did get this?
I did get that from Brian.
So
it was indirectly from Brian.
This is my mom's going to love this. This is a dual auto refractor of Donovan McNabb and Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, longtime receiver that was with the Eagles, then came back for a little while, and Donovan McNabb, who is the reason why the Eagles had a huge reason why they had any type of success under Andy Reid before Andy Reid went on to Kansas City. So that was night one. Do you have any? You don't have anything left from night one, do you?
No, but what I'll do is I'll show off the stuff that I got beforehand. I mean, there's only a couple more cards. But this was a comment. Mostly all this is from Thursday. I spent almost $1,700 on Thursday on some of this stuff. But we picked just a couple of small ones. A Donruss Jalen Hurts PSA 10. Surprised this didn't. I never even got asked about this yesterday. I was shocked.
Nobody asked you about it?
Nobody even asked me about it. I was shocked.
That's interesting.
This is about to be traded to somebody in a deal for a Tom Brady case hit, but I'll show it off while I have it. Joe Burrow die cut from Select to rookie, and then a Chronicles Silver Joe Burrow SGC 10. And you'll see that Joe Burrow's a slight theme, I guess you could say, of some of the stuff that I've been getting recently. And then the other two from Thursday, we had it's Panini, but it's still a really cool one. It's an auto of Aaron Judge from 2022, the year he hit 62 home runs. And then we've got a really, really nice Spectra RPA of Anthony Richardson, numbered to 75.
And Ant-Man Paul Rudd actually wrote that autograph for Anthony Richardson.
I love you, Anthony Richardson, but you got such a bad auto, man. Like, come on, do better.
It's like putting a dot.
I know.
It's like putting a dot, and it just makes no sense to me at all. There's Ahmad Sauce Gardner, who signs his and takes up the whole area, even if it's just with the swing of the pen at the end.
He's got a nice auto.
And then there's Anthony Richardson, who signs. I feel like it would hurt your fingers to sign that tiny, but I mean, just for some perspective here of taking up the space. And Donovan did a pretty good job here. But look at Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli's like, make the card bigger. Look at that. He's like, look at that. Right, edge to edge. Give me more space to sign on the card. Larry Johnson looks like it says Larry Josh. You could see, look at that. Larry, you could tell it's Larry. You could tell that there's a J and an O and other things going on. And Robert Parrish, bless his heart, signed his name. Look at that. Look at how legible that is. Robert Parrish. What do they teach you in school? They don't teach you cursive anymore. Why? Because they want us all to look like idiots to China. But look at that. Robert Parrish signed his name. How about it? Anthony Richardson, what are you doing? And CJ Stroud, I love me some CJ Stroud. You know I'm a Jaguars fan, but I'm an impartial broadcaster. I'm a big fan of Stroud. I've collected a lot of him and sold a lot of him. CJ, I'm a fan, okay? I have one question, and you can feel free to answer it on any one of our social medias or when we talk someday. Do you sign like that?
No.
Or do you go, oh crap, in the middle of the autograph and fudge it out? Because it looks like when he's signing, he's like, oh no, and then he keeps going. It's like it could be a beautiful thing, but he made a little mistake on it, and then he tries to correct over it. So, and CJ, I don't know, you and Panini, we got to find a marriage. We got to get going here. Houston Texans, and you. I want a Texans uniform auto.
He's going to have Topps ones coming out soon.
Think about what these cards would look like that I own if you had signed them. But I understand, listen, if Panini did a bad deal with you, or Panini, if he wasn't giving you, which I don't know the inner workings.
They don't have Levis either.
Right.
Levis doesn't have Panini either.
And the thing with Panini has cornered the market. It used to be that there was Upper Deck and there's all this stuff going on. Back in the day when I was a kid, there was so many different companies for baseball, basketball, football, hockey, so on and so forth. And then it just like slowly but surely evaporated, and then Panini cornered the market. And so Panini's like, we're going to look like 20 different companies because we're going to have all these different sub-products. But it's sad not having any other one of the things that we grew up with, and like the action-packed bumpy cards and all this stuff. So I don't know what the deal was. I think variety is good in sports cards. Mm-hmm. I want Panini to do the best. And I also want football to expand again. Topps, that's good news. Topps does a phenomenal job in a lot of different arenas. But CJ, my question is, do you mess up in the middle of the signature? And to Anthony Richardson, I don't know the team of ants that you've employed to run up and down these cards. But it makes people sad because they want your RPAs and they want your autos, but your autograph looks like you just genuinely have no care, love, or concern for the card itself. I don't know why.
This one's at least a little bit better.
He has moments.
He has moments where they're better. This is
moments.
at least a little bit better. This is like a very short variety of his name, but like I don't get it.
Who's AKMK, Anthony? Boy.
I mean, Garrett Wilson's signature is not much better. It's just GW, but it's at least big.
Yeah. Well, I pulled an auto last night, and you guys can go back and watch it in our box break here. But you see Xavier Worthy. Let's look at a new player here because Robert Parrish been around for a minute. Xavier Worthy, I know it's a little bit darker on your screen here, but you see the X, AV, and kind of a IE together, or IR, so it looks like Xavier. And then you can kind of tell, if you know the man's name, that there's a little bit of Worthy there. And he signed it in the whole area. So all I'm saying is, people pay good money for autos. They're looking for them all the time. The worst, the most egregious party foul that I saw is that someone actually sent me, they got an auto and a person drew a line. There was no name. They drew a line. And I think that the card company should apologize and do right by that customer. And I think that that person should be talked to. And if they're going to sign like that, then maybe they don't sign any more cards.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they drew a line. So that's awful. I would never want to experience something like that. And I feel bad for that. I don't care what age you are. So thank you to those of you that take the time to sign these cards. I'm sure it's not always easy or something you might want to do for a few hours of your day, but we appreciate it, those of us that love to collect. So that's what it looked like the night before. I do want to get into, before we get into the Fishtown Card Show, what we got there in our GG Cards a Break show and tell, the current standings of Major League Baseball, folks. The Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees, spoiler alert, will not let go of each other. They're not like Rose from the Titanic, because neither one of them will let go. Baltimore, and I'm still mad at her, the Boston Red Sox are 7 games behind.
There was enough room. Jack could have been on the door.
I don't understand. And the fact that there's a Facebook group that says Rose should have shared the door, I appreciate it, because I thought it was only me that was so sad about this. And
everybody was sad about it, dude.
Well, I mean, sad that he died, But what I would have done was I would have been like, Rose, can I get some door? And she'd be like, nah. And I'd be like, cool. And I'd ask her one more time. And then as I am going down into the water, I would turn the handle of the door and I'd open it so that Rose and I can die together. Because if she told me to never let go, well then, Rose, you get murdered if you don't share the door. I'm kidding. Don't murder Rose. Just open the door. The water does the murder. Anyways, I'm not a proponent of murder. Please know that. I'm just a proponent of if Leo was going to go down like that, to at least turn the handle and open up the door or find any of the debris, literally any of the debris that was there. There was so much debris in the water. I mean, he might have not have known, but there was a ship that was breaking apart, and there were places to go and there were things to do, and Rose was not sharing. She chose the diamond over him, and then she threw the diamond in the ocean. So she let him die for nothing, which is very sad. And I'm super angry about it. But women picking the diamond over the guy, been there. It's happened. So the American League Central, the Cleveland Guardians, they are 2 games ahead of the Minnesota Twins. Kansas City Royals and Bobby Witt Jr. trying to do their thing right now. Still in the hunt, still in the race, 3 games behind. And the only team in the United States of America to be eliminated from the playoffs with plenty of games to go are the Chicago White Sox, who are 30-95, 42 and a half games behind. I am closer, myself, no team, just me. Wake up call. Wake up call in the standings of the American League Central is closer to the Tigers than the Chicago White Sox. Me batting, fielding, and pitching by myself. In the American League West, the Houston Astros are 4 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners, as Papa Joe predicted. The Texas Rangers are 11 behind, and we'll stop there before we go to the National League. So, thoughts on Baltimore and the Yankees and the fact that neither one of these teams at this point has any separation. Are we going to go down to what I think we're going to go down to, which is like the final series for both of these teams, maybe making a decision on who's not even the winner of the American League East, but potentially who the number 1 seed is in the American League?
I think so, but I also want to find out if they play each other in the last week or so of the season. It's going to be 1 second on that. They play each other the second to last series of the season in the Bronx.
Yeah, and I'm not
that
surprised.
series will decide the division.
Yeah, I'm not.
Mark
surprised.
my words right now.
Because that's how sports goes. Sports lives.
It's going to be like the Mets and the Braves in 2012, 2022.
But sports.
They're going to beat up on each other, and neither one of them is going to make a postseason run because they're going to beat up on each other so badly that they're going to end up, getting themselves exhausted, and they won't be able to do anything after that.
No, it's
yeah.
funny how that happens. That the schedule made ahead of time.
Well, they try to plan it out where you're playing a division.
Yeah.
The best teams are probably going to be playing each other near the end of the year.
But you never know what's going to happen in 160-plus games. And when you make this schedule and then you look at the end of it and you're like, man, that's insane that they have to play each other. It happens in the NFL. Last week of this season, a couple of years ago, the Chargers had to play the Raiders. Whoever won made it into the postseason. Well,
if they tied, they both made it.
Yeah, and the Chargers were like, F you. No. So,
I get that you want your division rival not to make the playoffs, but at the same time, why don't you guys just go shake hands before the game and say, we're just gonna play to zeros and make it and tie?
No. That's when you know that divisional foes really don't like each other. They might like each other off the field, but on the field, you play to win the game.
But the thing is, there was an incentive for them to tie. Both make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you lose, you don't make the playoffs.
Right.
So why wouldn't you want to just tie?
Because you want to make it. You don't care.
Yeah, but if you lose, you don't make it.
Right, but then you don't want the other team.
Steelers fans were eternally grateful to the Chargers for that, by the way, because the Steelers got into the playoffs on that.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that had to happen.
I was rooting for them to tie. Because the Chargers kicked the field goal right at the end of overtime.
It was such a good game.
But I figure at that point, when the Chargers kicked that field goal, they were like, you know what? There's no time left on the clock. We're going to the playoffs regardless. Let's see if we can knock out the Raiders in the process.
No, it was good. It was PJ and I watched it down in Florida, and it was definitely a crazy way to end the regular season. But things come down to that all the time. And it's fun. And toward the end of the season, in the last few weeks, I always do it on the show, I read you scenarios. I tell you, because as an accredited member of the NFL, they send us emails all the time, and thank you to the National Football League for welcoming me in years ago as an accredited member. But they send us all this information, and they send us the scenarios, so we get it straight from the NFL. There's no, is this true, is this not true, does this make sense, whatever. And they break it all down really beautifully. They tell you every single bit of information. And there's teams where it's like, if they win and Pittsburgh loses and Seattle loses and then Miami loses or tie, and it's like, so if it was Baltimore, let's say, for example, it would say Baltimore has to win plus Pittsburgh loses, plus New England has to tie or lose, plus the Jets have to tie, and this all this stuff. I think Buffalo had at one point 14 scenarios to get into the playoffs. And 13 of them didn't, or some of them were some was if you win, you're in. And then it was if you lose, you got to do all these things. Or if this team wins and you win, and it gets insane, and people are like, oh my gosh, they're going through it with me, and they're like, geez, Dan. And I'm like, I didn't write this stuff. This is how you get into the postseason. You could just win your games and not have to rely on anybody else. But there are some crazy things that have happened in the past. And we're, teams that thought that they were dead and done, and then their fan base is going to a playoff game because all of these things happened. Or in the case of the Chargers and the Raiders, one of them said, no, it's one of us or none of us. So one of us. It's one of us.
One of us is going, but
not
it ain't going to be you.
One of us and not both of us. I will not allow you to get in with me.
I still think that was such a classless move on the Chargers' part, but it's a division rival.
It was a good game. And
the classy thing would have been for those two teams to say, we both make the playoffs as long as we tie, so let's tie. Let's play to zeros.
And what did Al Davis say? Just win, baby. Just win. I don't think Al Davis was worried about the Chargers up in heaven watching. So the Chargers won. There's a lot of scenarios that come up. Speaking of the Raiders for a second, before we get back to baseball, I sold the only graded Aiden O'Connell card that I had.
Good.
Yesterday. It was a rookie Panini Prism refractor. I think it was a 9. It was a 9 of Aiden O'Connell. And I had a guy come up to the table. Most people say, what's the best you could do on this price? The guy looked at my price and he went, yep, I want that one. He paid me full price, and I appreciate it very much so. We talked about Aiden O'Connell for a minute. And then, within an hour, Gardner Minshew, get a little alert on my phone, that Gardner Minshew II has been named the starter for Week 1. So wherever that gentleman is, I do believe that Aiden O'Connell will play, but I also believe that Gardner Minshew is worthy of a starting job. I said that in Jacksonville. I echoed the fact that I thought he was good when he almost brought to the Colts to the playoffs. They were one game out, and now he's with the Raiders. I don't understand why credit can't be where credit's due, because PJ and I were talking about Gardner Minshew II years ago, that they should have kept him as an insurance policy for Trevor Lawrence. And, he goes with the Colts. He plays up against the Jaguars, and he does a tremendous job with Anthony Richardson out the majority of the season. And now he's with the Raiders winning the starting job. So maybe the third time around, somebody will finally give some respect to Gardner Minshew, who was also with the Eagles and not a bad backup. But he's a lot better than people think he is, and I stand by the stash.
Yeah, gotta trust the handlebar for Gardner Minshew. I love Gardner Minshew, man.
He's a cool dude.
The fact that he broke his hand just to maintain eligibility was hysterical in college. That was one of the greatest stories I ever heard in my life.
He's a hell of a player.
Yes, he is.
And he started at East Carolina before he went to Washington State. So that was an interesting story because I cover East Carolina, and then we ended up meeting when he was a Jaguar. So shout out to Gardner. Aiden, I hope the best for you too. Covered him when he came to the Dome for Purdue. Told you after that game that man was an NFL quarterback, and he proved me right. and I hope that continues for him. So we get back to the races here. Let's feet to the fire of this thing. Who's going to win the division of the American League East? Baltimore or New York? Now keep in mind, Baltimore was the number 1 seed of the American League last year, did nothing with it. But Baltimore, New York, who wins the East? If we had to pick today. We're 125 games in right now, so we got like less than 40 games to go.
The Yankees. But don't count the Red Sox out, folks. They're only 7 back. That's not impossible to come back from.
They're trying.
They are trying. But no, I firmly believe it's going to be the Yankees. And the biggest difference is, their ability to score runs. Their run differential's plus 116, which is 20. They've outscored their opponents by 26 more runs than the Orioles. They've scored more runs than the Orioles and allowed less runs than the Orioles. So that obviously helps. They are the more complete team in my eyes. Yeah. They did just lose Jazz Chisholm for a while. I don't know how that's going to affect them, but they did just bring up Jason Dominguez again, so maybe he's here to stay again. It's one of those things where it's the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
The Orioles, yes, they didn't really have much competition last year, but I feel like in that moment, the Yankees pitching will get them deeper than the Orioles pitching. As great as Corbin Burns is, as good as Grayson Rodriguez is, we got some guys that have been a little suspect at times. So I like the Yankees to come out and win the East.
Yeah, I think the Yankees have proven this season, I said going into it, that the problem that they've had over the last couple of years was a lack of pitching besides Garrett Cole. And not having Garrett Cole going into this season, one of two things was going to happen, right? Either guys were going to step up, some of the moves that they made were going to come through, or they were going to show yet again that they have an ace, but they really don't have anything else. Mm-hmm. Having an ace is great. Having a full house is better. And I think the Yankees have shown that they have a fuller house than maybe people anticipated, myself included, that these guys stepped up in a positive way. Not that I said anything bad about the rotation for the Yankees. I'm just happy to see how well they've done and what they did in the absence of Garrett Cole for many games. And beyond that they were able to navigate some of these storms. They had a losing streak. They had times where this team was struggling. Garrett Cole came back. His ERA wasn't great. And, Chisholm, a fun addition for the team. I think people are excited about that. We saw a T-shirt yesterday at the Fishtown Card Show. And Aaron Judge and what he's able to do, what this team can do at times of need, has gone beyond 2 or 3 names. And for that reason, I'm going to pick the Yankees to win the division. I do think that they're going to have a good postseason. And I think that they're going to be a little bit of hell on wheels, a little Ghost Rider motif here for the New York Yankees. I do think the Orioles are a good team, and I do respect them. And I know that they've built up over time. They don't spend money like other people do. It's a juxtaposition of a franchise known for spending money in the Yankees and one that typically is not doing that with the Orioles. And the Orioles were at the bottom of the barrel in the American League East for such a long time. Now, for the last couple of years, they've found their way to get to the top. Their rotation, their young guns, their ability to hit the ball, not as well as the Yankees, but they're here, and they have definitely proven that they've earned the right to be. So I'm going to pick the Yankees, and maybe it's better for the Orioles to play in the wild card. I would love to see them win something, because as good as they've been in recent history, they drop out of the race really quickly in the postseason. But I do think the Yankees are going to have themselves a good season. The Cleveland Guardians, or continue to, I should say, in the postseason. Cleveland Guardians, Minnesota Twins, Kansas City Royals. My sneaky pick aligns with Papa Joe to not count out Kansas City. But the Cleveland Guardians have done a good job. The Twins and the Royals can thank teams like the Diamondbacks for hitting a hot team like the Guardians and defeating them in a series to help shorten this deficit that the Twins and the Royals have to make up. But both of these teams are fighting for the opportunity to get in. And I don't think a lot of people had the Kansas City Royals and Bobby Witt Jr. here, which makes me excited for this. And I think if they had made it to the playoffs, if they do make it to the playoffs, I should say, that Kansas City would bring a lot of excitement for a franchise that a lot of people didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna make this easy. I'm picking the Royals to win the division. I am. I mean, if you look at their roster, their pitching has been outstanding this year. Has been really, really good. Brady Singer's been really good. Seth Lugo's been a Cy Young candidate. Not as much recently, but he's still been pitching really, really well for them. They got some younger pitchers that are pitching really, really well. And they're hitting. Bobby Witt is really in control of himself, and the lineup is looking really, really good. Vinny Pasquantino coming along a lot. But I think the thing that separates them from the Guardians and the Twins is that the Twins can score, but they don't pitch as well. And the Guardians can pitch well, but they don't score as much. The Royals do both.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm picking the Royals to win the division, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be very, very close. I think they win it by a game or less.
And I got my Allen and Ginter box break you can go back and watch. Proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks on YouTube.com. It'll be loaded up there. It's already on Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. I pulled a Singer rookie out of there. My first Singer rookie. I'm going to go with Kansas City here. And I think...
Man, I thought I was being...
No, I'm picking Kansas City because Cleveland, to me, like you said, like scoring... If we're in a 3-2 scenario, if we're only going to score a couple runs... I'm going to give the edge to Kansas City. And then I think the Twins, I think this could actually flip and go Kansas City, Minnesota, Cleveland. Or it could go Kansas City, Cleveland, Minnesota, which I probably lean more toward that side. But I'm picking Kansas City because they've kind of just hung there quietly. And if they can get loud within these next few weeks... and they can close the gap here, I think that this could be one of the hottest teams. It could be named by some people to be the hottest team going into the postseason. And if we look at Kansas City's schedule that they have coming up here, they are going to face off against the Angels. Then they have the Phillies. They'll be at the Guardians from Monday, August 26th to Wednesday, August 28th. They're going to have a double header on Monday, August 26th, so there's 4 games. Then they're at Houston. Then they play Cleveland in a 3-game series at home.
Oh, God.
Then they play the Twins at home.
They got to run the gauntlet here.
Then they have to go to the Yankees, to the Pirates, Tigers at home, San Fran at home, to the Nationals, to the Braves on the road.
If they get through the gauntlet...
Which is what the Diamondbacks did last year.
If they get through the gauntlet of the Guardians, the Astros, the Guardians, and the Twins, and the Yankees... That's 5 series. That's going to be really hard. If they could get through a game or 2 over 500 in that span, they are going to have a shot to win the division because they got a very easy schedule the rest of the way. You got, let's see.
The Guardians have at the Yankees, Texas at home, Kansas City at home, Pittsburgh at home, Kansas City on the road, Dodgers on the road, White Sox on the road, Tampa at home, Twins 4-game series at home, at St. Louis, Cincinnati at home, Houston at home. So the Guardians' schedule plays more into their favor. They got more home matches, and they don't have.
They have just as difficult to schedule.
The Dodgers.
Look at who they're playing at the end. They're playing St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Houston. Cincinnati's been mad, but the Minnesota's been obviously fighting for the division.
Right.
St. Louis is going to be fighting for the NL Central, and then the Astros are probably going to be coming down to the wire to win the division and lock up the number 1 seed.
I feel like the Royals.
I think their schedule's tougher because of the end.
I think the Royals would, but a lot of theirs is at home or
I don't think that matters.
On the road.
I don't think that matters.
And then Tampa and Chicago. I think the Royals
they have the harder schedule.
Series.
I'm telling you right now, they have the harder schedule. As hard as big a gauntlet as the Royals are going to be running, the Guardians have the tougher schedule. I'm telling you that right now. It does not matter that they're playing at home.
I think
they have a tougher schedule.
It
doesn't matter that you're playing at home. It matters who you're playing.
I think it matters the home opportunities that they're going to have. versus the ones that will not be had by Kansas City down the stretch. The next one that we have up, Houston, Seattle, Texas, puts us in a place where the Astros are 4 games ahead, as I had mentioned. The Rangers are not out of it, but they're out of it. The Astros are in a place where they are commanding Seattle by 4 games at the moment, and the Astros will be in a position to face off against the Mariners Monday, September 23rd through Wednesday, September 25th in a 3-game series. That game is home for Houston. That could decide the division based on if Houston has any moments of strife. If they hit the oil and chips, that could give an opportunity for Seattle to kind of wake up here a little bit more.
Well, Seattle had a chance last year, and they blew it.
Yeah, they had many a chance last year. Didn't do anything that they were supposed to do down the stretch. Multiple games that they had to close this thing out. Houston's going to have the Red Sox at home, Orioles on the road in a 4-game series, followed by the Phillies on the road, Kansas City at home, at Cincinnati, Diamondbacks at home. Then they'll have the A's at home. This is funny. They have the A, and the A. They have the Diamondback A at home. They have the A's at home, and then they have the Angels A on the road on their schedule. Then they're at San Diego. Then they play the Angels again at home in a 4-game series. Then they have Seattle. Then they have the Guardians. I think Houston's winning this division.
I don't think we need to spend much time on that. It's Houston. Seattle's going to be in the hunt for a wild card spot, but with as bad as their lineup has been this year, it's Houston, and it's not going to be all that close.
The National League, we will attack after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're Sports Mates Life. DT and Murphy here with you from the Poconos today, coming off of our time in Philly. And I got to do something in Philly that I've never gotten to do before, times 3, because one happened twice and then the other one happened after. We'll talk about all of that after this fast break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us on Wake Up Call, and thank you so much for being here with us for DT and Murphy, which is coming to you right here from the Poconos, from Murph's Studios. You can see the Mets, you can see Wyatt Langford, Tebow's in the corner, your Marywood
Tebow's
jersey.
kind of behind my head. Yeah.
So you could see, let's see if I can lift him up here. Tebow,
Get
there he is.
There's Tebow.
So,
and if anybody knows somebody that does a good job with doing like nice professional cases for those two jerseys, please let me know. I would love to get those two in frames.
So here, as we discussed things from the Poconos yesterday, we were in Philly at Rivers Casino at the Fishtown Card Show, and I want to share these while we're talking baseball. This is I've been wanting to get one of his cards. I definitely want one of his autos. But this gentleman and I share the same birthday. It's also the second pinstripe that I have, because I have Mr. October's pinstripe. But this is a pinstripe piece of Whitey Ford's history, and it is 68 out of 99. It is a Diamond Kings mini card, but you can see that pinstripe is from Mr. Whitey Ford, and our birthday, October 21st, is the one that we share. I'm going to go next to somebody that I have 3 of. I've been kind of low-key collecting him. And one of his cards that I have, I want to send to get graded. And then I sold another one. Actually, did I give away the other one? I might have given it away to a kid at one of the trade nights. So I got it back, Ellie De La Cruz. Not from the kid. I just found it in life. So it's funny how I gave it to a kid when we were at the Wildcat Sports Pub for GG Cards and Breaks trade night, and then I ended up finding the card again. So now I have both of the Ellies that I pulled from PAX inside of the Heritage Hill Studios as we talk about cards from the Fishtown Card Show that we were just at. I got this rookie of Ellie, and I got this very nice, beautiful refractor.
Mojo refractor.
The Mojo refractor of Ellie in one of the deals that I did yesterday at the Fishtown Card Show. And then I got some Diamondbacks. I got my first Jordan Lawler auto. I have a ton of Lawler cards, but this is a really cool confetti-looking refractor here of Jordan Lawler, a flash of brilliance that we have here. And my first ever graded Gabriel Moreno card, a PSA 9.
This is the red foil, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Red foil refractor of Mr. Moreno. PSA 9, and that is also his rookie card. And I got the rookie card. I got this spotlight of one of the Yankees when I was opening packs from Bowman Chrome. So I've never seen this one of Corbin Carroll in the spotlight. And I got that.
I had a few of those. I probably should have I probably should have given you one. I thought I did at one point, but I guess not.
Yeah, so and normally a lot of his cards are him just holding the bat, and they all kind of look the same of a lot of ones I have. This is him running from the alien abduction. And so it was good to get that card. And then people that know me know that I am a fan of Brett Beatty, and I'm very excited to get this card. It's another auto of Beatty. It's an on-card auto of Beatty, and I had one. I sold it. I sold it at Fishtown last time I was here. It was my turquoise wave refractor rookie auto of Brett Beatty, and now I have another one that's coming home to go with my other one that I have, which is the blue color match. So I like collecting Beatty. I am a Diamondback fan, but I do like the Mets. I do support them when they're not playing us, and I'm a fan of Brett Beatty. So and none of those were expensive, so they were all worth taking home, and people did good deals by me, so I'm happy to give back and forth. We had some fun yesterday at Fishtown, as always.
Yeah, one of my 2 cards I got was a baseball card, so I figured I'll show this one now, and I'll save the other one for later. Also, because it's kind of a big card. This one I made a deal with a kid. I had a Kyle Harrison first Bowman Chrome refractor auto that I have not been able to move, and he wanted it, so made a deal with him. I got a Bijan Robinson Disco, which then I sold, and then this Jackson Holiday Atomic 2023 Bowman PSA SGC 9.5. I just felt like the upside was better with these, so I'm taking the chance. Plus that Harrison is kind of tanked in price a little bit, so I'm happy to kind of get it off my hands. Not have to worry about it anymore.
Is Jackson back up?
He is back up, and he is doing the things we were expecting him to do the first time.
Because when I looked up my cards that I had of his, the few that I have that are raw, I was pleasantly happy to see that the prices of the cards are starting to.
Because he came back up and he started raking.
Yeah,
he has been outstanding since he got called back up.
So. Maybe it's time for y'all to collect some Jackson Holiday. Murph has some. I have some.
I have a Jackson Holiday. That's it.
I have a few. I have some Adley Rushman stuff.
And it's cheaper than I would have expected it to be, too.
Well, that's a good thing now to buy him, is that his numbers are going... So if you own Jackson Holiday cards, good for you because the numbers are going up. And if you're buying him right now, you may still be able to get him at a...
If you bought Holiday during the peak of the downfall... or like the low point, sell it now. Get rid of it now. Because there is always a chance that he starts to not play well again.
Yeah, I got a couple of his rookie cards.
Take your money and run.
In the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies, even when they faltered, have stayed ahead of the Braves because of how strong they started the first half of the season. So they are still 7 games ahead of the Braves. They're 9 games ahead of the Mets. And... I'll stop there for a second here, Murph. The Phillies and the Braves, the Braves at one point this season were at the top of the standings. The Phillies...
briefly.
Very brief. And the Phillies have commanded it. They were 12 ahead, 15 ahead. Now they're 7 ahead. They've kind of hung true at 7 ahead in recent history here. What are your thoughts on Phillies, Braves, Mets... as we go closer to the postseason?
Phillies are going to run away with the division. Pretty much the same way the Braves did last year. Braves may not make the playoffs, to be quite honest. There we go.
No, there's another that breaks it.
Yep. He was looking for the wild card standings, and I showed him because we're looking at it on ESPN. I showed him a really, really easy way to find that when you're looking at the regular standings. Just go over and hit wild card.
Yeah, I know. The other one breaks it down more.
It does?
Yeah. It like gives you... I just like the way they set it up because they...
Oh, yeah.
So...
You know what? That's a good point. But yeah, I think the Braves, the Mets, probably the... who's the other team in the AL? The Cardinals, are probably going to be fighting for that last wild card spot. The Giants too, but I think it's going to come down to the Braves and the Mets ultimately, and it's going to be a matter of who does better, and it's going to be whoever goes. It's going to be whichever team is going to Milwaukee. Mets are not playing well right now. They are. So they had a rough couple of weeks here. They got swept by Seattle. They then lost 2 out of 3 to the A's, and then just took 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. So they're back at home. Now they got to play the Orioles starting tonight. That is not going to be pretty. Then they go out west. They got 4 in San Diego against one of the hottest teams in baseball. 3 in Arizona against the hottest team in baseball. Then it cools off a little bit. Then they host Boston and Cincinnati. Should be able to win those series. Go north of the border to Toronto. They could probably win that series. Phillies, and they got to play 7 games with the Phillies down the stretch. I imagine hopefully they can split the 4-game series and maybe lose 2 out of 3 at worst in the first one.
That's tough. That's all tough.
Yeah. This second to last series of the year right now will decide what happens in the division, and realistically, the last 3 games of the season, if they make the wild card, that's who they're playing. So they might as well stay in Milwaukee. They would be playing the Milwaukee Brewers, so I imagine they will probably just stay in Milwaukee for the wild card series. They won't even go home.
If you want to see the Mets play the Braves on the road in what could be the series that potentially decides it all or is a factor in it, you can see Mets at Braves for $7.
Yep. Wednesday night.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Well, it's nosebleed seats, but you know.
But
you can go to you can go to the Orioles game on Wednesday afternoon for $2.
Which makes no sense.
It's a Wednesday afternoon game, though.
That makes no sense.
Nobody goes to Wednesday afternoon games.
I love it, though. I'm gonna start going to all Wednesday afternoon games. I'm just gonna travel the country on a Wednesday afternoon. San Diego and Arizona, the Diamondbacks helped out the Mets and the Braves by beating the Phillies in their series. 3 out of the 4 games they played 3-1, and now the Mets have a chance to help either Arizona or San Diego. If they're able to beat San Diego or take some from San Diego, it helps Arizona. If they take some from Arizona, it helps San Diego.
Yeah, but it'd be nice if they just beat them both and then they don't have to worry about it anymore.
I think they can go ahead and beat the Padres.
I'll sweep the Padres and then lose 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks gladly.
So it's going to be an interesting gauntlet on the West Coast at San Diego.
Because you'll win 5 out of 7 games in that little gauntlet right there.
Yeah,
I'm in for that.
Because
then you got to sweep. Then you got to probably sweep the White Sox.
Yeah.
Then you got Boston, who you could take 2 out of 3 from. You got Cincy, who you can take 2 out of 3 from.
The biggest one comes from Friday, September 13th through Thursday, September 26th. Within that 13 days, within less than 2 weeks' time, they will play the Phillies on the road for 3, like you said. Washington at home for 3, not too worried about. And then Philly at home for 4, and then the Braves on the road for 3. That gauntlet of 7 Phillies games, 3 Atlanta games, all on the road, within 13 days of time is going to really show us who the Mets are.
The Mets historically don't play well in Atlanta. So they've got it. If they want any hope of making the playoffs, they're going to have to take 2 out of 3 in that series.
And before doing that, you got the Orioles, which is not an easy thing, at home. Starts today through Wednesday, and then they will head on the road.
I mean, they're missing.
Right after.
They're missing Corbin Burns. And they're missing Grayson Rodriguez. So, they could take 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. They're not. If they were facing Burns, okay. But, you know, you got arguably your 3 best pitchers right now in Peterson, Quintana, and Minaya all pitching for you. All 3 lefties. The Orioles have a lefty-heavy lineup. I think they could take 2 out of 3.
Well, the other part of this, too, is something that I don't...
Crazy to say because it's team tied for the best record in baseball right now. But I think they could legitimately take 2 out of 3 from them with who they're facing pitching-wise.
I feel like this doesn't get stated enough. The fact that they talk about how much rest guys need in the NBA and how much time that they need to relax and how they can't play 82 games because they have to play in the postseason if they make it. And they have to have a couple days in between their playoff games in order to travel and get settled. Where the Mets, like teams in baseball in general, are playing in Baltimore, Maryland, and then going to San Diego, California, playing the next day.
It's a 1:10 start on Wednesday, and then they'll probably get to the airport in Baltimore and fly straight to San Diego, and this.
So you get done at 4. You get done with you get done at the game at let's say 3:30. You do your interviews, do all that stuff. You go to the airport.
No, they probably won't get out of the stadium until at least 5:00.
That's what I'm saying. You do your interviews 3:30. You get done at 3:30. You do your interviews, get everything ready, set to go. You leave. Let's say you take off at 6 or 7 p.m.
Well, they're going to take off out of LaGuardia, so they're right. It's not like it's a busy trip to get there.
Right, but 6 or 7 at Woods, you got to give yourself at least 2 hours to get over there. Well, you got to give yourself time for the plane. You take off. Let's say they take off at 6 or 7 o'clock. They travel 3 hours over to San Diego, California.
6 hours.
So, you travel over 3.
3 time zones, but it's still a 6-hour flight.
Well, it's a 3-hour flight, but
6 hours will have elapsed for you, but only 3 hours will have elapsed
for them.
For them,
they leave at 7 and they land at 7, like a weird type of thing.
Yeah.
But they get over there and then they play at 8:40 at night, but they essentially have 24-ish hours before they play again. And still, I just want to commend, the whole point of bringing it up is to commend these athletes for having East Coast, West Coast series without a break in between of...
Typically, teams struggle with that, though.
Right.
You'll see East Coast teams go out west, and they'll tend to struggle.
We talk about NFL teams doing it in a week. You talk about an NFL team, you talk about the Chargers, the Jaguars play at home against Houston, and then have to go play the Chargers. They have a week in between, and there's still that, Jacksonville went through this history of struggling on the West Coast. And baseball
Most East Coast teams do, though.
Right, but you have a week in between, where these teams have 24 hours.
True, but you're only flying out there on Saturday.
See, I would just fly out there earlier. Give myself time
to
get acclimated. Find a high school that's going to let me come in and practice.
Most teams don't do it.
Do all my stuff and then do my walkthrough. But the West Coast, East Coast stuff, for a Major League Baseball team to do it and give themselves maybe 24 hours is a beautiful thing that they can do this. Because a lot of teams in the NBA and in the NFL show that they struggle. And they do not have necessarily the amount of time in between that these teams... I'm just saying Major League Baseball never stops. They go and they go and they go. There's no all right, we got to go on the West Coast. We got a week to get prepared. We got to go on the West Coast. We're getting on the plane in an hour, and we're going to get over there, and we're going to sleep, and then we're going to have less than 24 hours to get acclimated with this jet lag. So I just want to give them a shout out. I know Jacksonville when they go to London, it is better for them the second week. I'm sure they'll probably tell you. They're the only team that plays 2 weeks and back-to-back in London as of right now. And that gives you the opportunity to have a jet lag team play you the second week. The first week, you're kind of all in the same boat, depending on when you leave. But some teams don't leave. Some teams will leave earlier than other teams to go to London. They could leave on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, where another team's leaving on a Thursday. So that can really change things. And
the Jaguars had back-to-back weeks over there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
By the second week, they were completely acclimated to...
They've done it 2 years in a row. So the team that comes to see them the second week, it's like they're home. But to the first week, depends on when you leave. If Jacksonville leaves on Tuesday and the Bills leave on Thursday, then Jacksonville's got 2 days to get over that jet lag ahead of the Bills.
Well, here's what I don't get. They still want to put an NFL team in London.
I don't think
I don't think that's logistically possible. Imagine a team from the West Coast having to travel to London. That's a 12-hour flight.
I'd be like, do I go... I would love to see what it's like to go the other way. If I go over the Pacific Ocean, how many hours does that take me?
It would be worse. It would be a lot longer. Partly because you're going against the wind.
But you got to think about, so you're going 1, 2, 4 time zones, 5, 6. You're going like 6
England
or 7
is 5
times
hours ahead of us.
So you're going like...
So that they're 5. They'd be 8 hours ahead of the West Coast. 8 hours ahead of the West Coast.
Well, NFL Europe didn't work, so
No.
I don't see.
I think it's a great idea, but I don't think it's logistically possible.
Yeah, I don't ever buy into the fact that the NFL is going to have a team in Europe. No. It doesn't make any sense.
You want to put a team in Mexico, you want to put a team in Canada, go for it. But I don't think
there's time
Europe's
zone
just
changes.
it's just not possible.
I mean, it's time zone changes. There's currency changes. There's can you get your fans over there changes. There's a lot of things that you're dealing with the European Union versus being in the United States, and it doesn't make sense. It makes sense for an event. It doesn't make sense for forever, which is, and I don't think Jacksonville was ever going to go there. I never believed that. I still don't believe that. And to the people that ask me why, it's because I've spent 13 years in Jacksonville, the majority of that time in Jacksonville at games, seeing what they've done to the city of Jacksonville, what they've done to their stadium, what they're doing to their stadium, what they've done with Daly's Place being added to it, the changing of the highway system. If Jacksonville was leaving, I would have seen none of these things. And they would.
I'm not saying it's going to be them.
They would have just let it die. Like
I'm
they
saying
did
an
with
expansion team over there.
Yeah. But San Diego, they were told to fix their stadium. They didn't. The Oakland A's and their situation, that's not a Jacksonville situation. Jacksonville's situation is they continue to pour in millions of dollars in. If you're leaving, you let it run down and you leave. They are building a new stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be building a new stadium if the team was leaving.
But in the last decade, when everyone's like, "Oh, Dan, it's Jacksonville,"
I don't get what's wrong with that stadium, though. I thought that stadium was fine.
It's more than anything else is to put that. I call it the giant sunglass, but to put the sunglass shade thing over it to try and bring it down 15 degrees.
Like what they have in Miami.
They have to. Because they say, why don't fans come to games? Oh, Jacksonville has no fans. It's not that Jacksonville has no fans. It's that Jacksonville fans don't want to pass out at games.
I've been to one game there, folks. It was in the middle of October. So you would think, it's hot. It's Florida. But you wouldn't think it's like ridiculously hot. It was 90-something degrees, and it felt like well over 100 with where we were sitting. 3 different times we had to get up and get out of the sun.
Because there's no cover.
My Uncle George and I both went and got ice cream because it was so damn hot.
There's no cover. And now there'll be cover.
If they do... Now, are they building a whole new stadium, or are they going to
it's like
put that type of roof on it like what they did in Miami?
They're not, like, destroying... But I think it's a 3-year time period of
where are they going in between
of the revitalization. I
forget.
So
wait, aren't they going to Orlando for now?
That's
one of the options on the table.
That was my option because it's I would imagine it would be the most fiscally responsible, best. If you go to Orlando and you play in the old Citrus Bowl, which is now Camping World Stadium, you have the opportunity to get direct flights from all over the world and all over this country. You have people that'll be at Disney. You have people that'll be at Universal. You have people that'll be at SeaWorld.
3-hour ride from Jacksonville?
Yeah. But you have...
That's not bad.
You have a bunch of new fans, tourism, direct flights. You don't have to fight with any team that is playing a college game or college games there. You're not fighting with any pro teams. You're not fighting with any soccer teams. You're not fighting with any baseball teams. It's literally a stadium not being used, and it seats what an NFL stadium can seat. So to me, it fits in seating, it fits in location, it fits in all that.
While they're renovating it?
They were discussing a bunch of different places, and I want to give an update here.
Yeah, because and while you're searching for that, I think so. This is a lot different.
They're not going to Daytona. The 500 was brought up.
So this is a lot different than
they're considering Orlando.
They're considering Orlando. Okay.
So maybe they'll finally listen.
They're considering Orlando.
They thought about
imagine the Jacksonville Jaguars playing a game at the Swamp.
It would be good.
How cool would that be?
But it's also like there's no.
Oh wait a minute.
Path there.
Wait a minute. Where does the Florida Georgia game go while that stadium's being renovated? Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, the Gator Bowl will not be available.
I would think that they'll probably host it at. I would think they'll still go neutral site.
Yeah.
Maybe they go to Orlando or they go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium for that one particular game.
They also said that they might play 3 games in London.
Okay. I mean, obviously Jaguars fans, if they know they're going to renovate the stadium,
Yeah.
right? It's not like they're going to Orlando for good, right? It's not like what the A's are doing. They're going to San Jose and then they're going to go to Vegas,
Yeah.
right? They're going to go to Orlando, but they're going to come back.
Yeah.
So this is just while their stadium is being
Yeah.
Renovated.
It makes sense. They don't have to fully keep people out.
It looks like
2026.
so it's only going to be 1 year that they're going to need to do it.
It was a 2-year plan, but if they could do the things, and obviously everything deals with construction and timing, and if it all works out, but that they could play with a reduced capacity in 2026. So they're playing there in 2024, 25, 2025, 26.
I'm trying to think of where else they could go. I mean, the only other
They
place
said
other than
Daytona,
Orlando and Gainesville.
Orlando's the only one that makes sense of everything that they've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean the problem with Gainesville is you gotta deal with the Gators. Like you'd almost have to try and schedule their games on weeks that the Gators are not home.
Well, and the problem with Gainesville is that you can't fly in. You have to.
You still have to fly to Jacksonville and then drive an hour.
Right.
Yeah, Orlando's at least easy because you're right there.
And you're gonna get a bunch of
I think there
new
is an
fans.
airport in Gainesville, but it's very small.
You're gonna get a bunch of new fans.
That's
because
true.
people are gonna say, "Let's go to Disney on Friday, Universal on Saturday, and oh, honey, look, there's gonna be an NFL game on Sunday. The kids have never been to one,
And that
it's gonna
stadium
be
is
right here, 5 minutes from Disney. Let's just go there."
That stadium's right off the highway too. You could see that stadium. You could see into that stadium from I-95.
Spent a lot of time at Camping World Stadium.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect place for them to go because it's about a 3-hour drive from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you're moving way far away, but you have your fans that would probably be willing to take the drive. I would think. I will say this: you might have a lot of teams that travel really well for this. You might have some fans that will travel well to
It might look like
Orlando.
it might look like a neutral game.
And if that's only for a year, I think it's not the end of the world, right? But, it's not like you could play in the stadium while it's being renovated, right? So you have to go somewhere. I mean, think about what the Yankees did in 74 and 75 when they were renovating Yankee Stadium. They played their home games at Shea Stadium for 2 years.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, obviously it's not like they'd have a place like that to go, but, I mean, I feel like the only other place that they could potentially even think about going would be somewhere in Georgia. But I don't know where. I don't know where you would go.
Savannah's closer, but
what's in Savannah?
right. No, I mean Orlando makes the most sense. It's
Because they have a stadium where you host a bowl game.
it's the most fiscally
you don't have to
responsible place.
I mean, there's other teams that play in that stadium, but it's basically meant for the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, I mean it's sitting there, waiting before bowl season for them. They would just have to navigate the 127 bowl games that are played in Orlando. But there's like 5 now, I think. There's at least 3. I think there's 5 now. The Cure Bowl, I believe, is the earliest one.
Well, it doesn't matter because it's in the postseason.
Well, they start in December, so they'll still be in December and January.
Well, they put the bowl games during the week.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. That's what they should do. Jacksonville, you could hire me to do that. I'd be more than happy to do it. Some people know Jacksonville, some people don't.
Yep.
And that has been clear to me over the last few months. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. We have more cards to show, more to talk about for the Fishtown Card Show, and we'll wrap up Major League Baseball as well as get into a little bit of the NFL while we show off these cards. We're Sports Meets Life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us here from Murph Studio in the Poconos on the heels of being in Philadelphia. We still have some things to tell you about our Philly trip, and we'll be back with that right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I could tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you, hanging out with you, and we are inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill, the brew house on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York, and of course you can find their newest location at Heritage Hill North, which is right here on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, at Sweetheart Corners, the home of our CNS North Stars monthly broadcast. We were there this past week, and we had a phenomenal time with Pete Moore and all of the student athletes of all different ages that he trains. You can go back and watch all of those videos. Thank you to the tremendous, tremendous support that we had on Friday. A ton of people out there. Thank you to all the families so very much. You could see all of those videos. There's a 4-part series, and that is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and it's also on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. And we'll be there this Wednesday, August 21st. It's August 21st at 7 o'clock, and that show will be featuring Coach Ryan and his staff taking on the 2024 season in this new era of CNS North Stars football, with Coach Ryan being the head coach for the first time ever for CNS. And we're looking forward to welcoming all of the football families, as well as the CNS community, the community of Central and Upstate New York, the student athletes, and the coaches this Wednesday, August 21st at 7 p.m. to Heritage Hill North. With that being said, Murph and I were at Fishtown yesterday, our third time there. GG Cards a Break show and tell. We have more things to show you. First, we're going to jump back into baseball and give you our final notes here, Murph. So baseball outside of the division we were talking about, I believe that. I mean, I think the Phillies. Obviously, I think
we don't need to say much about that. The Phillies are winning the division,
but the Mets are 2 games behind the Braves. They were a half game behind the Braves. This is going to come down to quite simply which one of these teams is going to have the endurance to run that final couple miles here in the rest of this season. And in the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have expanded themselves out to the largest lead of any divisional leader in Major League Baseball in 2024. The Brewers are 11 games ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals. They are 11 and a half ahead of the Chicago Cubs. They are 12 ahead of the Reds. The crazy thing about this is the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Reds are all close to each other, within a half a game or a game of each other, but nobody is single-digit games in their separation from them to the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee is running away with this division more than any other division in America, including the NL East, with the Phillies 7 games ahead of the Braves. So, thoughts on the Brewers? I mean, is this a done, or do you think the Cardinals or the Reds or the Cubs have any opportunity?
No, it's over. What's funny is they traded their best pitcher, and they're still going to win the division by probably double-digit games.
Yeah, they came out real quick here.
I still think they're going to be the 3 seed in the National League, so they'll play the last wild card team.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Mets. But this division is over. We knew going into the year it was going to be the Brewers and maybe the Cardinals. It's a foregone conclusion at this point.
The interesting thing about this is there's no other division in Major League Baseball. Of the 6 divisions, there's no other division where the team in last place has a shorter window to first place. Every other division, you look at the NL West, the Rockies are last in that division, 27 games out of first place. The Marlins are 27 games out of the NL East first place, 14 and a half out are the Oakland A's and the Angels in the AL West. The White Sox are 42 and a half games out of the AL Central lead, and the Toronto Blue Jays are 14 and a half from the Orioles, who lead the AL East. There's no other division in baseball that's closer, but the 4 teams trailing the Brewers, no one is close enough.
Correct.
So they're close to each other, but nobody's close to the leader.
Yep.
Milwaukee Brewers looking like they are in more than good shape.
They can still pitch. That is for sure. They did just lose Christian Yelich for the season, but that team can still pitch.
Yep. So
they've allowed, I think, and I want to double check this stat. The 4th fewest runs in the in all of Major League Baseball by their pitching staff. So then their run differential is plus 106. So basically that means they've allowed they've scored 106 more runs than they have allowed.
Yeah.
So that is pretty darn good. And second place is in the Cardinals, has a minus 62 run differential.
It's crazy that the team that's in second place in the NL Central goes from plus 106 run differential, like you said, to minus 62, and the teams behind the Cardinals are a plus differential in runs scored to runs allowed. Plus
Not by
4
much, but they are.
For the Cubs. The Reds are plus 30. The NL West, the final division to talk about, the Dodgers have been leading it for a while. Dodgers are 3 games ahead of the Padres, who are 1 game ahead of the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks 4 games out of first place. Will either one of these teams catch the Dodgers? And then, second question, will all 3 of them make the postseason?
No, neither one of them will catch the Dodgers. Yes, all 3 of them will make the postseason. I can say that for pretty much a certainty right now. No one's catching the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just too good. That team's too loaded. The Padres go to Minnesota, then they come to New York.
And they got home.
Oh, and that's right. They're at home. That's right. Then they go to St. Louis and Tampa Bay. Come back out west for the Tigers and the Giants. Then they go to Seattle for 2. They go to San Francisco for 3. And then they got Houston, Chicago, and then the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks.
So they're spending most of the rest of their season on the West Coast.
Yes. If there's a team to do it, I don't think it's the Padres. I think it would be the Diamondbacks.
And the final series for both teams that have been fighting for second place in the NL West will be against each other. Arizona will host San Diego Friday, September 27th.
Those two teams will play each other in the first round of the playoffs, most likely.
And through Sunday, September 29th. They'll play each other in a 3-game series to probably decide who has the higher wild card spot and who hosts.
Yeah, I firmly believe that'll be the case. They'll play each other again, so it'll be a matter of who gets to host. And to be honest, I don't know if they're going to have their best pitchers for the wild card game, because the Diamondbacks may have to burn Gallen. The Padres might have to burn Cease and Musgrove. So we'll see what happens with all of that.
Yeah. So as we take a look at the Diamondbacks' rest of their season, they will start today at Miami. They'll be from the West Coast to the East Coast, playing down in southern Florida for today through Wednesday at Miami. Then they're at Boston. Then they'll play the Mets at home, the Dodgers at home, which is good to play the Dodgers 4 at home at least. And then Dodgers going to be a tough matchup. We know the Dodgers are good for winning over 100 games. Not necessarily. Once you get into the postseason, everybody's 0-0.
I don't think anyone's on pace to win 100, though.
Well, the Dodgers, what they've done in their history recently is cause people to say, how do you win over 100 games and get knocked out of the playoffs? And that's not fair. Diamondbacks shouldn't have been able to blah, blah, blah. And my response to them is, in any sport, anywhere that you are, you can't say that to the Eagles and say, well, you won 14 regular season games and you just lost to a wild card team that won 8 regular season games. It is what it is.
Maybe try beating them. That's how you don't lose to them.
You win the games in your regular season to position yourself for the postseason, and by how many you win, you either get in or out of the postseason, and it determines your seeding. So when they say it doesn't matter how many games a team wins in Major League Baseball, yes, it does, because it determines, 1, if you get in, and it determines, 2, what seed you are. If you don't win once you're in the postseason, that's nobody else's problem, and it's really not an argument that holds any weight.
In more recent years in baseball, I'm starting to think it doesn't matter what your seed is. Because look at the last handful of years. We've had a wild card team in the World Series every year since they got to this third expanded playoffs. And you know, the Phillies and you had the Phillies in 2022. That was the first year of it. And then you had the Rangers and Diamondbacks last year, who were both wild card teams.
Yeah.
I am willing to bet you right now that there will be a wild card team that makes the World Series this year. Yeah. Who is it? I don't know. But I'd love for it to be the Mets, but I don't think that's going to happen. They don't have the pitching for October. But Diamondbacks again, maybe the Padres, maybe the Orioles. Yeah. The other thing is, yes, those other teams have time off, but they have 4 days to sit on their hands and they're getting rusty. We've seen those two teams that got the byes not perform well. The only one that has made the World Series was the Houston Astros. And it's the Houston Astros. Right, they've been to 7 consecutive ALCSs.
They talk about, like, you know, well, you win all these games, you get more time. So, like,
I don't think that helps in baseball.
And they're like, well, that works against you. And then my response to Dodger fans last year is, okay, you have more time, which means you could get rusty, but you also are not playing at that moment, using your pitchers, using your hitters, putting yourself in a potential to get injured, and you're not fighting for your life to stay in the postseason because you're already in. So when people say, well, when my team sits, I just feel like, yeah, I can understand that, but would you rather sit or would you rather fight for your life and play extra games? Diamondbacks had to play more games than the Dodgers, and they still have to go up against each other. I just think if you have a team that has a bye week and they're automatically, or bye series, or they're automatically in, versus a team that has to play to stay in, what would you rather have as a fan? Guarantee that you're in the next round, or fight for the next round?
100%. And I'm sure the players would rather have the bye. But I'm telling you right now, in baseball, I don't think the bye is beneficial.
Well, there's some teams really it is and some it's not. Like Kansas City Chiefs, they can respond well in the NFL.
But it's different.
But Dallas doesn't.
But the NFL is different, right? The NFL, you have a week in between games anyway. So an extra week that can help.
Right.
Because how much of more of a physical sport it is on your
sweep
body.
your series? What if you're the Dodgers and you sweep the series and you have 3 days or 4 days?
I'm going to give you a prime example.
As opposed to somebody who has 2 days.
I'm going to give you a prime example.
They went 7 games.
And it kills me that I have to go back to this. 2015, the Mets swept the Cubs in the NLCS to go to the World Series. Right? The Royals played a 6-game series against the Blue Jays. They were still fresh when they came out to Kansas City in Game 1 of the World Series.
Yeah.
The Mets hadn't played in almost a week.
You got to play more.
That is not good.
But then you also ask yourself, the bats that got quiet in the World Series against the Rangers, if the Diamondbacks had to play less games, would their bats have stayed loud still?
I don't think so.
So
I think the Rangers pitching was just that good last year.
It's a catch-22.
Nate Eovaldi was ridiculous. Jordan Montgomery was outstanding.
Yeah.
They did it without Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they were really good. And they did it without DeGrom, right?
And they did it without DeGrom.
But the thing with...
I think it just came down to the fact that the Rangers pitching was really good and the Diamondbacks kind of ran out of gas.
The hitting was insane.
I think it was just a matter of the Diamondbacks ran out of gas. And I don't necessarily think it was from them playing so much. I think it was a combination of the Rangers pitching being very good, and
I think
you knew it had to be a slugfest if you were going to win. Yeah. The only way you were winning that series is if it was a slugfest because you knew the Rangers were going to score. Because those guys could hit.
People were like, "No one's going to beat the Phillies." They beat the Phillies, and the amount of.
But the Phillies also can't pitch.
But the amount to beat the Phillies, the way that they beat the Phillies, and the win games in Philadelphia, and
that was the big difference between the Rangers and the Phillies last year. The Rangers could pitch and hit. Well, the Phillies could just hit.
Rangers came in with a hell of a lot, and the Phillies, to a lot of people, are the best. People consider them the best team in baseball, and they consider them the best team in baseball right now.
They're not.
Newsflash,
they're not.
But Philadelphia, to beat Philadelphia, which I don't think anybody besides myself gave Arizona credit for, and probably the Diamondbacks themselves, and the fans, because the fans are super supportive, and I've been around them, and they're awesome in Arizona. The Phillies series, no matter what anybody says, that takes a lot out of you. And then to say, okay, you ran through the Dodgers, you got through the Phillies, now you have to play the Rangers. It's the argument of, again, do you want to play? They had to play the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Rangers. Would you rather not have to play that first series and go forward? Would you rather not have to go through some of this stuff and move forward?
Well, I mean, if you make the World Series, yeah, you would rather not play that first series. But at the same time, in the 2 years that we've been in the 2 years that we've been having this playoff format, a wild card team has reached the World Series.
Right.
Both years.
But do you want
3 out of 4 World Series teams in that time frame were wild card teams because they stayed fresh. Because they continued to play.
But there's the stay fresh, run out of gas argument that I
True.
think people have. Just now, like I think it's the sit and wait versus we're already in. Like I would rather my team be in than have to play. But then they're like, well, then they're rusty and they're not fresh. But then I turn around and say, well, how are you practicing? What is your regimen? How are the guys doing? Are they staying hot with it? If I'm a team that makes it in and I don't have to play in the first round of the playoffs, and you talk about me being rusty, I'm going to practice every day. I'm going to eat the same way. I'm going to do everything that I need to do. I understand I can't.
But it's not like you can face real pitching.
No, you can't simulate a game. But to me, it's like, if I'm one of the best teams in baseball, why in the hell would I all of a sudden be like, not that great? I don't think you could say the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers because the Dodgers waited. The Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers because they were better than them last year in that series. And if you looked in their series throughout the season, they had where they had struggled against the Dodgers, they were able to answer it. It's not like they had never won a series against the Dodgers in the regular season.
They didn't have a great record against the Dodgers in the regular season, but they won when it mattered.
Yeah, they won what they had to win. They did what they had to do. They responded when they needed to respond. And listen, I don't care. Through the scope of the season, you get there, you play the team that's in front of you. If you go 0-7 against the Dodgers, 0-10 against the Dodgers, and you beat them in the postseason, okay, you learned from those 10 games, your team responded. Right now, the Diamondbacks are winning, and Corbin Carroll hasn't had a good season hitting pretty much all season long. So if he wakes up, and again, last year they did it without Jordan Lawler. You look at this season, sans of Jordan Lawler. This is a team that, if Corbin was hitting well, if Lawler had come up last year, if Lawler didn't start this season injured, what could this team look like that's already good with both guys?
They'd be in first place.
So if they're doing this without that, I don't want to hear the argument from people out there of the Dodgers won because they were just sitting there waiting, watching television. I don't care. I genuinely
I never said that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that was the argument was they won all these games. They deserve to. They deserve nothing. You win the games to get in.
Exactly.
That's all you. That's
but
all you.
What
do.
I'm saying, what I am saying though, is it is starting to be proven to be a disadvantage for that team that's sitting around waiting.
Right.
Because the team that's coming into
and the wild card team would tell you it's not a disadvantage because they're fighting for their life.
Oh, 100%.
So there's
100%.
I think the argument's made both sides positively because there's facts on both sides.
There's an argument to be made for both sides. There really, really is. I'm of the belief where I think now, yes, you want the bye, but at the same time, it is hard to stay fresh it is hard to stay, hot when you have time off. The Diamondbacks were red hot going into the playoffs last year. That is why they won. They were the hottest team in baseball going into the postseason.
Yeah, not like a team that just caught fire.
Literally. The Rangers lost the division on the last day of the season.
I was told the Brewers were going to beat the Diamondbacks without trouble.
I thought they were too. I'm guilty. I am in the guilty party of that one. But at the same time, like we said, they were the hottest team in baseball. 2022.
And they had a tough 15
2022.
games.
They did. 2022. Who was the hottest team in baseball going into the postseason? The Philadelphia Phillies. Who made it all the way to the World Series? The Philadelphia Phillies.
But you can argue that about anybody. It's how you.
It matters
how you're playing toward the end of the season.
It matters how you are playing at that particular moment.
Yeah.
The Dodgers limped their way into the postseason. Did not come out and play well against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks beat them in 4 games.
And you can look across sports and see the teams that are good on paper. They were good during the year. They were good at the beginning. They have all the all-stars, but they don't go into the postseason strong. The Dallas Cowboys are a prime example of that. If they're facing San Francisco or Green Bay, doesn't matter their seeding. And San Francisco and Green Bay just know how to beat them. They know how to beat them at home. They know how to beat them on the road. It doesn't matter who's out there. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is necessarily at times. They just know what they're doing. And that goes back to Tony Romo, and it comes to Dak Prescott, and it goes beyond that. It goes to Quincy Carter and so on and so forth. They've just had a weird cultural thing where they struggle to win in the postseason when they get in. So taking a look now at our cards again, after we come off of baseball and head into football, looking at the Philadelphia Eagles and Tanner McKee, I just realized that all of my Tanner McKee Bowman first, as well as my Tanner McKee green or pink parallel refractors and all the Tanner McKee stuff that I have, I'll be bringing that back to y'all Philly people, because some of you were looking through my stuff yesterday and it didn't even hit me that Tanner McKee has been playing for you here in the preseason, and I have a ton of his stuff at quarterback. Mm-hmm. But we have more things to show.
I'll let you go first because I only have one card.
So again, these prices were set. They're not even what I paid, but these are the prices that were put up here by the people
These
I
are
bought
just
from.
they're just their
Sticker
stickers.
price. So this is a chrome Mark Brunell. I just like Mark Brunell. Love my Jaguars, and I love the chrome. So
number to $5.99.
Chrome, a nice looking card.
It's the black refractor, yeah.
Yeah. So number 89 of $5.99. Then we have. I love these cards, and this is actually a gold parallel. So and it's the celebration of Trevor Lawrence walking into the end zone. I just liked it because it's Trevor. This is a Stars refractor rookie card, and what's cool about it is as you turn it back and forth, the stars show up in certain places on it. It is Trevor Lawrence in his college uniform at Clemson, but it's got the Jaguar stuff surrounding it, so it's not the all-college card, not the all-pro card. It's the one in between. I just really like that rookie card. I have a few of these. I sold my Zay Flowers. I love the rookie sweaters. So Devin Achan here, we have his rookie sweater. It's a white sweater that looks like it probably had either lint or some teal polka dot thing going on there. I do have a couple other ones, and then Murph has one of these as well. Prestige. I just really like these cards. They remind me of the old Flair cards of the kind of the depth of field of seeing the player and seeing them in the background. It's a rookie card of Anthony Richardson. Go Gators. Then I have cards of Caleb Williams, but I never had his first card in print. That changed yesterday at the Fishtown Card Show, as I have Caleb Williams Bowman first. So this is his first ever card that was made. It's from Bowman U Chrome, and was able to get that card. I also have an Anthony Richardson big old patch here, a blue patch, and it is numbered to 349 in the world. It's a rookie patch of Anthony Richardson.
It's just missing his microscopic signature on
Oh,
there.
no, it's there. You just can't see it. That's what I'll tell people. They're like, is that an RPA? Yeah, you just have to look close. And so, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. And I have the Z team of rookie card of CJ Stroud.
That's an interesting insert.
Yeah, so I got the Z team. We all know he's part of the A team, but we got the Z team there for him. I got it and I sold it. So that was the other one that I sold to Alex. So at GG Cards and Breaks trade night at the Wildcat 2 months ago, I got a Gem Mint 10 out of 10 orange refractor mosaic of Brock Purdy. Then at GG Cards and Breaks trade night at the store, just a few days before I went to the Fishtown Card Show in Philly with Murph, I sold it there, and so I wanted to get another one. This one's not graded yet. I'm going to look at it and see if it's grade worthy, but this is not an orange parallel. This is the red. It's pink and red here. It's the same card that I had, mosaic, rookie card of Brock Purdy, but it's not the orange one. So after selling that one, I bought a new one.
Mm-hmm. Let's get the pink one.
Yeah, I got the pink one now. This is I believe that this is the short print one. There's two CJ Strouds, and this was the one where it's a different picture of him.
So they have the optic preview.
Yeah.
That's the one from regular Donruss. This is just the regular optic base.
Yeah, so this is the rated rookie here of CJ Stroud. I have the other one, and now I have that one. And then I got these both. I got these at the beginning of the Fishtown Card Show, and love a CJ Stroud PSA 10. I got two of them. They're both rookies. I've never seen this one before, so I'll wait on this one. The Prismatic Wave Refractor. I actually have one of these, and I was looking at sending this off for grading, and I still might do that. So I have a 10 out of 10 that I bought, and then I have the card raw like that as well, and then I have the base raw of this card. So I have three of those. And I have the Funkadelic rookie.
This is a cool one.
This is the Funkadelic rookie of CJ Stroud, and this is another one that is clear.
It's tough to get 10s on the clear card. That's a cool one.
So this is a clear Funkadelic 10 that reminds me of Austin Powers. And there's different ones. So this is the gold one for the Funkadelic. And I sent the Trevor Lawrence that I sent that is clear. Got a 10 out of 10. So I have two clear 10 out of 10s. One of them is not for sale. One of them is in CJ Stroud. So I have a bunch of CJ Strouds, some that I'm going to send to get graded, most likely. Other ones that I might sell before that. And then we have the ones that are already graded. So my CJ Stroud collection is very strong. And I have a prismatic graded, prismatic one that was not a refractor, that was a 9, PSA 9. And then I got a wave refractor prismatic that was raw, and I sold that yesterday. I was going to potentially grade that, hope that one got a 10, but a couple people looked at it, somebody wanted it. So the Fishtown Card Show, once again, a success. Thank you to them for that.
So I have one card. It is... I'm going to say it's not for sale because I have a friend of mine who I am most likely going to be trading it to. In exchange for a bunch of really nice slabs and stuff that I could probably make a little bit more on than I would with this. But this is, and it's the first one, it's the first RPA of him that I've ever had. He's got such a sick signature, right?
Joey B.
So this is Panini Black 2020. This is 29 out of 99. It's a Joe Burrow Panini Black RPA. It is a 3-color patch. It is sick. This is a big card. This is, I think I paid $6.75 for this.
And it's the curve. That I like the patch when they're curved, when they're tricolor, and then it's like you see that like curve of the number.
It's such
like
a
Lamar
sick
Jackson's.
card. It's such a sick card. It's a shame that I'm not gonna have it for very long, but it's so
I like that it's
so
signed in like that silver too, that like white silver.
It goes with it really, really well. But on a black card, you kind of have to. But you got something else that you need to show off here.
I do. So Murph got his Wyatt Langford that is sitting over his shoulder here. And when I got here, I haven't opened this yet, so I'm opening this with you all in the moment. But those of you that know Wake Up Call, you know that we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's the first time the Dolphins have ever had an exclusive partner, and we're proud to be with them. Well, one of the Dolphins that is in Major League Baseball and very recently an All-Star is Josiah Gray, who we call JoJo, and this is the jersey that Murph got me, and if you look very closely here, folks, it is signed by JoJo. So not only is it a Washington Nationals special, and describe like what this jersey is too for everybody, because we see the flowers on it.
So this
you
is
see the flowers on the front
this
and
is
the pink.
This is their City Connect jersey.
Yeah.
So each team now has a City Connect uniform. Some are better than others. I don't think the Mets one's all that nice, but some are better than others. This is the Nationals City Connect jersey. There were two options. There was this one and then just a plain regular one. I thought you'd probably like this one a little bit better.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So the City Connect jersey, pink. We got the flowers on it here in the front, and we have JoJo's name in pink, and of course JoJo's autograph there on the 4, as you can see it. Josiah Gray, who is a proud alum of the Lemoyne Dolphins, and now his jersey has a proud home inside of the Heritage Hill Studios for Wake Up Call. Thanks to Murph.
Of course, my friend.
So, we're going to take one final step aside. We'll be back with a final note here from Murph Studios in the Poconos, coming off of another successful Fishtown Card Show in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Right here on Wake Up Call. We'll be back after this inside of the Heritage Hill Studios.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, is available to you Tuesday through Saturday, open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5. There is no sports card shop place, in my opinion, quite like GG Cards and Breaks, and that is because no one's got a Josh Gideon and an Anthony Campbell except for GG Cards and Breaks. You will find So many things there. Hockey, soccer, basketball, football, baseball, all sport, AEW, UFC, Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, while supplies last. So many great things coming through the doors, from singles to graded cards to packs and boxes, as well as the only sports card shop that I know that has every MLB, NFL, and NBA team put in their own box for you, the fan, to look through and bring home your favorites today. GG Cards and Breaks is so much more than a sports card and trading card shop. They're a place ingrained in our community of Central and Upstate New York, and we see that every single month at Trade Night. And throughout the month, with everybody that comes in, thank you to all of the new guests that come into GG Cards and Breaks, and thank you to the patrons that continue to return there. GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Tuesday through Saturday, open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I forgot to show you my favorite card that I got at Fishtown Card Show. And that favorite card of mine is from someone who is from Central New York. Central and Upstate New York native, played for the CNS North Stars, where we have our home at Heritage Hill to do our broadcast with them, as I told you, and we'll be back there this Wednesday. We were there this past Friday, right before I came down to the Poconos in Philadelphia. Well, this wonderful, wonderful person not only was successful at CNS, but was recruited by Gino Auriemma to the Yukon Huskies, won 4 championships in 4 years. For those of you playing the home game, that's 100% of the time winning a national championship. Went on to become the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, went to the Seattle Storm, and moved on from there to find herself with the New York Liberty, where she currently plays. And this is my first ever anything of her. Her signature is beautiful. Breanna Stewart 2020 Panini Prism WNBA signature, showing her with the Seattle Storm. This is my first WNBA card. It's my first graded women's basketball card, and it's going to go very well with my Caitlin Clark's. This is my auto that I picked up yesterday of Breanna Stewart from a gentleman who had a huge collection of women's basketball cards, more than I've ever seen. Props to him for that. This Breanna Stewart, he came down a little bit for me on the price, and this is something that is so very worth bringing home. Breanna Stewart's autograph to Stewie, Central New York native, played at CNS, played with my cousin Sammy Tortora on the basketball court, and she is such a beacon of hope, not just for women, but for people. She works her tail off. She's got her own sneaker. She is doing so many things, and she came from my little old hometown. So to our combined community that we know, to her incredible story of adversity on and off the court, and to somebody that I was not going to pass up at the Fishtown Card Show. Breanna, you're coming home where you belong. And you will be in the studio, the Heritage Hill Studios. And you'll be able to see Breanna Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of our studios. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT is where you're watching and listening. You're also listening on internet streaming radio on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. A big time thanks to all of you that download us and follow us and support us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, as well as Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and others. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or Wake Up Call DT as one word on any one of these outlets, and make sure you subscribe and follow so you never miss when another episode is downloaded to any of these platforms and beyond. A big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Heritage Hill Brewhouse, Heritage Hill North, once again, where we will be this Wednesday, August 21st at 7 p.m. for CNS North Stars Football Spotlight on-site broadcast. So bring out the family, get some dinner, and have some fun for dinner and a show this Wednesday with the football team of CNS. Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Brian's Landing, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. Get yourself out to Ma and Pa's, folks, on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And then that location will be closed when they're at the fair. And you'll have to go to the fair to see them, and they're going to be all over the fair. You could go to any nook or cranny of the fair, you're going to find Ma and Pa's. Ton of locations, Spud Shack, and their lemonade will all be on site at the Great New York State Fair. And the Great New York State Fair is coming to us and starting this Wednesday, actually. And it's going to run Wednesday, August 21st through September 2nd, which is Labor Day, as it always ends on Labor Day. We look forward to seeing you there. Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, as well as Mother's Cupboard and Servomation Refreshments, reimagining, revitalizing, and creating so many wonderful ways to be at work, be at school, be at a place of business, and have vending machines that are unlike anything you ever thought. This is the Cadillac of the vending machine. Servomation, find them and get more information at servomation.com. The Lemoyne College Dolphins are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As we are here in year 4 in an unprecedented partnership in the history of Lemoyne, we bring you conversations with the Dolphins during Dolphin Time weekly, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Find our content of over 3 years by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. And, of course, you'll find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And, as always, fins up. And, by the way, this week, Callum Donnelly, the head coach of the men's soccer team, is going to follow suit, paralleling the women's soccer head coach, Yaro Zavaslan. Yaro and I had our special air last Wednesday, right ahead of their first game, which was on Thursday at home. And guess what? The men's team, I'm going to talk with Callum live this Wednesday, August 21st, and on Thursday, August 22nd, you'll be able to see them at home as well. So great precursors to the season for Lemoyne women's and men's soccer happening exclusively here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Fins up. Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call, what we call the Bobcat Buzz, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. You are going to love what you find out from the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. They were a hidden gem. They're not anymore as we continue to showcase just who they are in our community. They have 2 awesome locations for their campuses. One is right up the road from downtown Syracuse on James Street in Syracuse, New York. The other is right off of Route 57 across the street from Avicoli's in Liverpool. So you know you'll be eating really well for those of you that get to go to that location. We can't wait for the Bobcats' upcoming men's and women's soccer seasons and everything to follow from there with men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. Find them on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You also find the Bobcats on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know where they're at every Tuesday exclusively, only here with us on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Around the world, you can watch the Bearcats during Bearcat Time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with Moments with Marshall, with our series with Gene Marshall, the Binghamton University Athletics Director, leading the Department of Athletics, and of course the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration. You will find all of this content by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. You also find the Bearcats on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to BUBearcats.com. And congratulations, a big-time shout-out to the women's soccer team back on the pitch and starting with a win. Shout-out to the amazing team, Neil Bhattacharjee, the head coach, as well as all of the wonderful student athletes and coaching staff. congratulations on your victory. I look forward to continuing to tell your story as well as so many stories of the Bearcats. Go to BU Bearcats for more information, BUBearcats.com, and of course, go Bearcats. With that being said, Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT from the Heritage Hill Studios. Big time thank you to the Fishtown Card Show. Thank you to Brett and your entire team at Fishtown. 3 in and 3 awesome, awesome memory days made. Murph, what's the last word from you?
Great to have you back up here again, man. It's been a blast this weekend. Looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun here. We have a great time. Looking forward to seeing you all out there. And Philly fans, just so you know, I didn't wear this stuff yesterday to try and respect your home, but I do want to say something about your home, and that is Philadelphia. Murph and I ran the Rocky Steps, and then I ran them again. And you are going to see an all-new Wake Up Call promo airing on all of our social media platforms and YouTube following this show. Do not miss it. And your boy got his first Philly cheesesteak in Philly. No Rob, I didn't get no Cheese Whiz. I went to Max's, and Murph and I went over to Max's. Murph picked out Max's. It was on our way home. We went to Max's, got to meet Terry and Alyssa in line from Connecticut, who had been there before. Awesome people. Shout out to y'all if you're watching and listening. Terry and Alyssa, great to get to talk with you in line as we went down the line here. And I have learned some things about ordering a cheesesteak in Philly. I got mine with provolone, no mayo, salt, pepper, ketchup. And yeah, your boy ate that thing pretty easily. It was super good. So I got a Philly cheesesteak in Philly. We ran the Rocky Steps. We went back to Fishtown, and we had a great time back here in the Poconos.
There were a lot more steps than I thought to run up the Rocky Steps. My goodness,
it was fun. It was
a lot of fun.
So,
but he wanted to go back down and do it again because he didn't get a great video the first time.
I wanted to film it. Right.
And I'm like, do you expect me to run up with you?
No, I was like, stay here.
I was like,
get me running.
I was like, you can't. Yeah, I ain't doing that again.
No.
I was exhausted.
I was like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, if Murph doesn't want to, I was like, if he doesn't want to run this thing, I was going to have you run it again. But I was like, we'll just airlift Murph there. But I just wanted to get the video of running up the stairs because those of you that know me know that there's adversity that we all go through, myself included. And a lot of people, I think, wanted me to fail. And we're going to be celebrating 21 years in November of broadcasting. It all started at Marywood, my alma mater, and Murph's alma mater as well. And God has been great. My grandfathers have been great from heaven. My grandmothers on earth and now in heaven have been wonderful. My parents have been wonderful. My friends, my brothers like Murph. So many people have been supportive and kind. All of these businesses that we get to work with, all of these places that have welcomed us in. The Fishtown Card Show Brett's words to me yesterday were incredible for someone who's a promoter, and I didn't even know that he knew who we were. And as soon as he saw my face, he was like, "Hey man, great to see you. Always good to have you here." And then sent me a message after the show and said that he said, "You have a supporter in me." So big time shout out to Brett and the gang from Fishtown Card Show and Cherry Hill. And I would say watch the video. The new promo coming up of me running the Rocky Steps. I have a message for y'all. And those of you that know me well know that my one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Rocky Balboa when he talks to his son about it's not how hard you can get hit, it's how much you can take and keep moving forward. It's not how many times you get hit, it's how many times.
It's not how hard you can. It's not how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit.
Not how much. How
much you can take. Yeah. Keep moving forward.
Right. And to continue to get up and to not blame it on I'm not where I'm at because of him or her or anyone. That's something that just really stuck with me, is that it's nobody else's fault where you are. It's nobody else's success where you are. And what you've done in your life should only be determined by you and God, really, and the strength that you hold within to put that out there. And to not prove the world wrong, but to prove yourself right. and just to keep getting up off the mat. So running those steps yesterday, I felt like I had you with me, Rock, and I felt Sylvester Stallone. I don't know how much. Maybe you do know, or maybe you'll never know. But I hope you know how much of an effect you've had on people's lives, including my own. And running those Rocky steps, I did it because of the story of Rocky and my story. So watch the video, see the promo. I love you dearly. From the Poconos and Philadelphia, we appreciate you being here. And Murph, I appreciate the hospitality.
Always, my friend.
And happy birthday. Happy 21st birthday to Mrs. Murphy. And to Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, God bless you all. And to your little pup there, got to shout her out too, Miss Molly. So
she's chilling downstairs. She got a little nervous she got a little scared last night because we had some thunderstorms, but she's fine. She's chilling down there. I went down to see her and while we were out during the break.
Yeah. So we will talk with you all soon. I'll be back in the Heritage Hill Studios tomorrow, and I will be at Syracuse football camp by the grace of God tonight. Take care. God bless. No stress.